Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge etc. Jai Hind. Historical events of 8th May. Journey through time of 8th May 2025 Thursday. Today's that is 8th May highlight in history. 1608. A newly nationalized silver mine in Scotland at Hilderstone, West Lothian is reopened by Bevis Balmer. 1639. William Coddington founds Newport, Rhode Island. 1721. The Papal States Cardinal Michelangelo dei Conti is elected Pope and takes the name Innocent XIII. 1788. King Louis XVI of France attempts to impose the reforms of Etienne Charles de Loménie de Broglie by abolishing the parliaments. 1904. Branded a traitor during the Reign of Terror, French chemist Antoine Lavoisier, who was also a tax collector with the Ferme General, is tried, convicted and guillotined in one day in Paris. 1821. Greek War of Independence. The Greeks defeat the Turks at the Battle of Gravia-Id. 1842. Train derails and catches fire in Paris, killing between 52 and 200 people. 1846. Mexican-American War. American forces led by Zachar E. Taylor defeat a Mexican force north of the Rio Grande in the first major battle of the war. 1877. At Gilmore's Gardens in New York City, the first Westminster Kennel Club dog show opens. 1886. Pharmacist John Pemberton first sells a carbonated beverage named Coca-Cola as a patent medicine. 1898. The first games of the Italian Football League system are played. 1899. The Irish Literary Theatre in Dublin produced its first play. 1902. In Martinique, Mount Pelée erupts, destroying the town of Saint-Pierre and killing over 30,000 people. Only a handful of residents survived the blast. 1919. Edward George Honey proposes the idea of a moment of silence to commemorate the armistice of 11 November 1918, which ended World War I. 1921. The creation of the Communist Party of Romania. 1924. The Klaipeda Convention is signed, formally incorporating Klaipeda region, Memel territory, into Lithuania. 1927. Attempting to make the first non-stop transatlantic flight from Paris to New York, French war heroes Charles Nungesser and Francois Colli disappear after taking off aboard the White Bird biplane. 1933. Mohandas Gandhi begins a 21-day fast of self-purification and launched a one-year campaign to help the Harijan movement. 1941. World War II. The German Luftwaffe launches a bombing raid on Nottingham and Derby. 1942. World War II. The German 11th Army begins Operation Trappenjagd Bastard Hunt and destroys the bridgehead of the three Soviet armies defending the Karts Peninsula. 1942. World War II. The Battle of the Coral Sea comes to an end with Imperial Japanese Navy aircraft attacking and sinking the United States Navy aircraft carrier USS Lexington. 1942. World War II. Gunners of the Ceylon garrison artillery on Horsburgh Island in the Cocos Islands rebel in the Cocos Islands mutiny. Their mutiny is crushed and three of them are executed. the only British Commonwealth soldiers to be executed for mutiny during the Second World War. 1945, World War II, the German instrument of surrender signed at Berlin, Karlshorst comes into effect. 1945, end of the Prague Uprising, celebrated now as a national holiday in the Czech Republic. 1945, hundreds of Algerian civilians are killed by French army soldiers in the Sétif massacre. 1945, the Halifax riot starts when thousands of civilians and servicemen rampage through Halifax, Nova Scotia. 1946, Estonian schoolgirls Aili, Jogi and Ajida Pavel blow up the Soviet memorial which preceded the bronze soldier of Tallinn. 1950, the Tolund man was discovered in a peat bog near Silkeborg, Denmark. 1957, South Vietnamese President Ngo Dinh Diem began a state visit to the United States, his regime's main sponsor. 1963, South Vietnamese soldiers under the Roman Catholic President Ngo Dinh Diem opened fire on Buddhists, defying a ban on the flying of the Buddhist flag on Vesak, killing 9 and sparking the Buddhist crisis. 1967, the Philippine province of Davao is split into three: Davao del Norte, Davao del Sur, and Davao Oriental. 1970, the Beatles released their 12th and final studio album, Let It Be. 1972, Vietnam War. US President Richard Nixon announces his order to place naval mines in major North Vietnamese ports in order to stem the flow of weapons and other goods to that nation. 1973, a 71-day standoff between federal authorities and the American Indian Movement members occupying the Pine Ridge Reservation at Wounded Knee, South Dakota ends with the surrender of the militants. 1976, the roller coaster, the new revolution, the first steel coaster with a vertical loop, opens at Six Flags Magic Mountain. 1978, the first ascent of Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen by Reinhold Messner and Peter Haveler. 1980, the World Health Organization confirms the eradication of smallpox. 1984, Corporal Dennis Lortie enters the Quebec National Assembly and opens fire, killing 3 people and wounding 13. Rene Jalbert, Sergeant at Arms of the Assembly, succeeds in calming him, for which he will later receive the Cross of Valor. 1984, the USSR announces a boycott upon the Summer Olympics at Los Angeles, later joined by 14 other countries. 1984, the Thames Barrier is officially opened, preventing the floodplain of most of Greater London from being flooded except under extreme circumstances. 1987, the SAS kills 8 professional Irish Republican Army volunteers and a civilian during an ambush in Loughgall, Northern Ireland. 1988, a fire at Illinois Bell's Hinsdale Central Office triggers an extended 1 AESS network outage, once considered to be the worst telecommunications disasters in US telephone industry history. 1997, China Southern Airlines Flight 3456 crashes on approach into Bayonne International Airport, killing 35 people. 2019, British 17-year-old Isabelle Holdaway is reported to be the first patient ever to receive a genetically modified fake therapy to treat a drug-resistant infection. 2021, a car bomb explodes in front of a school in Kabul, capital city of Afghanistan, killing at least 55 people and wounding over 150. Thank you very much for your patience. Request for like, share and subscribe.